Welcome to CCRPG, where we open up our virtual table and play games with some good friends. I'm Bob, and I'll be running Lancer, an RPG by Miguel Lopez and Tom Parkinson-Morgan. You can find it on itch.io. In our last episode, the DBC crew fought at Point Saber at an attempt to secure an opening in the SMAC defenses. It was hard fought, with consistent reinforcement from both SMAC and the Pit Wolves. Kingfisher lent aid by drawing off some of the opposing forces before they could reach the fight, but also took damage in kind. In the end, both sides fought to a stalemate. The party pulls back their assault. Both sides reinforce the corridor, turning it from a possible attack vector into a shooting standoff, drawing resources from both sides of the conflict. Now, today, we're going to see how the attacks went at Point Epee, Falchion, Tachi, and Gladius. Welcome back, pilots.
Hello.
Glad to be back.
Greetings. Last session wasn't a complete loss. You did successfully take one of their defense points and turn it into a no man's land, so that's something. But we are going to need a way in to SMAC territory in order to continue this assault. So we should probably find out if that remains a possibility. Like I said, there are 4 other attacks going on right now. As you guys pull back out of the combat that you are engaging in, you are going to be allotted time to pull back to the back lines as other people reinforce in front of you, so you can take a rest. Regarding recovering your HP, spending your repairs, dispersing your heat, doing all that kind of stuff. We can get to that in a moment. But the thing we're going to do today is determine what happened at the other 4 attack points. Luckily, there are 4 other attack points, and there are 4 of you. So we're all going to decide these things together as a group, but I want each one of you to kind of take one of these points, and that'll be the point you roll for. For every one of these points, it is going to be a normal skill check as per the rules of Lancer. Anything above a 10 is a success, and you're going to be rolling basically just a d20. The modifiers are going to come from somewhere else, though. A lot of things have happened during this arc, and we're going to pay off some of those things by seeing them in action during this big fight. So, me and the pilots here have come up with a couple of things that are going to count towards possible bonuses that you can spend at these points to give them a higher chance at success. Just to give you an idea of the kind of bonuses we're working with, you all have recruited Kingfisher, White Rabbit, and Bet Noir. Each one of them is a bonus on their own. You shared the ferrofluid data with all the crews. You rescued a high-skill elite pilot, a Bao, during the city collapse earlier in this arc. And just recently, you countered a possible ambush that SMAC was setting up for this attack, which, because of its critical efficacy, is going to count as a single +2 bonus that you can spend at one of these points. We also discussed a possibility of maybe you all want to spend some of your time helping out these other sites as well. I will warn you, though, that if you spend your time trying to reinforce these other sites or sending them info or data that could help them, you will be doing that at the exclusion of repairing your mech because things are going a little quickly. We can decide that down the line, so I'm going to let rest and repairs take place at the end of these rolls. If those of you who have decided not to spend your rest trying to add a bonus will still have your rest to go through at that point. Does that seem fair?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
All right. Now, it's been a little bit since we last talked about it. If you guys have come up with any new ideas for bonuses or things that you think you should be rewarded for that happened during this arc, just bring those up, and we'll see if they can be applied to the combats. But let's just go through them in order. Let's start with Point Epee. Imagine that these are combats happening from the north of the border. Remember that SMAC is to the east. So it's basically a north-south line that you're attacking on. You guys basically attacked the middle. That's where Point Saber was. At the far north is Point Epee. South of that is Point Falchion. Then it was you guys. To the south of you was Point Tachi. And at the far south was Point Gladius. Which point do you want to start with?
Let's start from top down.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Epee.
Who wants to be the person who's like the final arbiter of what happens at this place? We can all make suggestions, but one person will have to be the person who's the decider for this point.
Is there some locations that are more one mercenary crew than others?
So, geographically, in the north is where White Rabbit is, and in the south is where Kingfisher is. Far to the west is where Bete Noir came from.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is I think the thing I can think of would mostly apply to White Rabbit, so I wanted to make sure I use it on that one.
Okay, that makes
All
sense.
you, man.
Okay, yeah, I'm on the spot. So I think at this point, Evelene has formed some form of camaraderie with at least some of the White Rabbit crew members, at least with her working with the scavenging and whatnot. I kind of was thinking that it might be interesting to see, like, maybe she helped prepare some of the mechs, because she does have that mech maintenance background. And maybe she could give them the edge they need to maybe win that control point.
Okay. I could see that being interesting. Do you want to be the person who's the point person for Point Epee?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay. Well, what do you all think? Does that seem like a reasonable request for Evelene there?
So, yeah, to me, I would think since these battles were happening simultaneously when we were fighting too. So maybe it's like she is repairing reinforcements that are trying to shore up Point Epee. Or maybe like mechs come back forced to retreat, and she kind of patches them back up and sends them back to the front line. Something like that.
I could get behind that, yeah.
Okay. Did you want to spend your rest, though? I know that some of you are pretty beaten up.
That is an excellent question, because I mean, I've only been structured once, so it's not the end of the world, but I also have health. So,
Just you're on one structure, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, you know what? I just playing the character, I feel like Evelene would say that's nothing. So yeah,
Did you say one structure, or you've been structured once? Because a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
He said one structure, I'm pretty sure. So
I've been.
I'm like,
I mean, would Evelene do it if she only had one structure left? No, I only got structured once.
oh, okay.
Okay.
Now, remember, you guys have a pool of bonuses that you can pull from as well that won't cost you anything.
Like our skill triggers?
Well, they can only be used at a point once. So once you use the Kingfisher bonus, that means that Kingfisher will take an extra interest in that point, and then that point will get a bonus for that. But that means that you won't be able to use Kingfisher at those other points.
I see.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud here, spitballing. But like, I'm wondering, like, if we need, obviously we want to do well at all the points, but what we really need at the bare minimum is 1 point of ingress. So do we see how...
Are you vouching for let's put all of our eggs in a single basket, Astro?
Maybe.
I was almost thinking the opposite. Like, this is the first one. I mean, maybe use it like if. Well,
I was thinking put all our eggs basically in the last basket. Like go conservative for the first couple of points, and on the last one, see how it goes. And then on the last one, if we're down to the line, we go crazy. But
crit fail on the roll that has all of the bonuses.
That may be a terrible idea.
Todd, that was my thoughts too. So if it's a terrible idea, it's both are terrible.
Okay, well,
the idea is
actually
sharing the blame.
reassure
If
me.
you needed more convincing, Todd, that it was a bad idea, there you go.
Okay, you're right. It was stupid.
No, I mean that's fine. Let's just let's get that first roll done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like we can use it, Chuck, if you want to forego your rest and do that action, and then maybe use one of the available bonuses that we have for us on top of that. Like so you have 2 bonuses coming in. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, the +2 is for everyone, right? Or is it a one-time use?
Which one?
All the bonuses are one-time uses.
Yeah, all the bonuses are one-time uses that give a +1 to the roll. There is a single bonus that you're going to get a +2 from, and that's the countered ambush, because of how much Smack was relying on that ambush to be effective. When that goes awry, it will go awry spectacularly.
So that's another bonus we can choose to use at one.
So how many +1s do we have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 +1s and a +2.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Okay. Well, I think in the very least...
So we don't have to entirely put our eggs in one basket. Like you can use one of the bonuses.
That's what I was going to say.
Your own, yeah.
And what I was also going to say is, in order to use a bonus, you all need to be able, you can work cooperatively to do this, but you need to frame a scene where we see that bonus making an effect on the battle.
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
Okay, well, I think I definitely want to use one of the +1s at least.
Okay, which one?
I know, I'm looking through the list. I just realized my personal list does not necessarily line up with your list. Not verbatim. I'd say assisting the crews with. Do you mind reading again, Bob? I'm sorry.
Yes, there's one for each of the mercenary crews that you recruited to be in the fight. So that's Kingfisher, White Rabbit, Bete Noir. And then you have one that because Dyne rescued a bow, the Lancer for Kingfisher. And then you have another point because you shared ferrofluid data with all the crews, so they're more equipped to handle issues with ferrofluid.
I think it's the last one then, because I'm like, if I'm repairing mechs from combat, then they've clearly seen this ferrofluid. So like, I think giving him the advice and telling him what to watch out for is going to be beneficial as we send them back in the battle, or we're sending in reinforcements in the battle for that matter.
All right, so one of the ones you're going to use is the info that you shared on the ferrofluid data with the crews. What do you imagine that looks like? When these crews are going to the battle, how are they adapting their tactics, and how are they fighting Smack to take that into account?
I think as these mechs are getting prepared, Evelene's kind of just looking, she's getting him set up and everything, and she's like, well, you don't have any ranged weapons at all. You know those things explode right when you destroy them. Like here, let me get you at least get a reliable rifle in place. You don't need all melee weapons. Who would have a mech with all melee weapons?
Evelene, couldn't be me.
As they look up at Evelene's mech.
Well, look, don't pay attention to it. Like, it only got one structure. Come on, look, let's get, you gotta have at least a few ranged weapons in there. Let's get you set up.
So your advice to them is basically make sure you finish them off with reliable rifles.
Or some form of range.
Yeah. Which, not a bad idea. Solid tactic, actually.
No one's saying it's bad.
And then the other point you're using, are you going to forego taking your rest at the end of this, or do you want to hold on to that?
I'm going to forego my rest.
Okay. So you forego your rest, and what do we see Chimera doing while your teammates, or maybe some of them, we're not sure yet, while you would have normally been allotted time to go to the back lines to repair your mech? What are you doing instead?
I think I'm doing some last minute prep work on each of these mechs as they're being sent out. So like either arming them the correct way or engineering something that works with what they have. So like I recognize this model. I'm like, oh yeah, I can hook up. I can give you one of my what do they call it? Grappling hooks. I can give you one of my grappling hooks to help you with things. Like try to engineer something to give them, at least give them a little bit of an advantage.
All right, excellent. I like all of those, Chuck. That's great. So, Evelene, you're going to be rolling for point epee. It is going to be a skill check, so it's a d20 plus 2 is your modifier from the 2 things you've added. But before you roll this, I need you to roll for me a 4-sided die real quick.
A D4?
Yeah, just a d4, please.
Okay. 2.
Okay, don't worry about it. Nothing you have
Joke's
to worry
on you.
about, Chuck.
I am worried about it.
Okay. All right, Chuck. Go ahead and roll for point epee.
So D20 plus 2?
D20 plus 2.
All right. Son of a gun.
Wow.
Hey, that was a crit fail. 3
No.
total.
Oh yeah, it would
You
be.
have the
It was a
safety
3.
on all of these rifles you gave us.
You didn't train any of them on how to use the weapons you handed out.
I mean, it works. But there's no case of like pushing it in this, right?
No, I'm sorry. Point epee has been lost.
My pride has been just shattered because of that. A crit 1. I know I had bad rolls, but a crit 1 on the first roll of the day.
You know, I'm
Our
sorry.
bad rules from last session are continuing.
Yeah. Well, what I'll say is that is one more site where there is not a breakthrough, another lane into smack that is not usable. So we'll see how that affects what happens going forward.
Eveline's gonna go get drunk.
Well, you're gonna have to wait. You might all be dead. I kid. Well, maybe.
Are you?
I don't think you kid.
All right. Next one on the list is going to be Point Falchion. Who wants to be the person in charge of this role?
Could do it. I have a few ideas
All right.
for Point Anthony Fauci.
Okay. Well, regardless, Mr. Jamin, why don't you tell me? Well, as a group, you all get to decide these. So, what do you guys want to do in terms of what you apply to this one?
I'm pretty sure he prefers Mr. J.
So a few thoughts. So one of the things I was thinking about foregoing my rest too, and kind of working with RC to monitor the enemy's comms and like network activity, and basically feed intelligence back to our side at Point Falchion.
Okay, so you're going to take on additional roles as a basically a like tactician / dispatcher, right? Like you're going to be you're basically going to be playing. I could definitely see how this would give you a bonus because the crews inherently have trouble working together, but all seem to be okay working with y'all. So kind of like filtering cooperative data through you and RC is probably a good way to coordinate them. So I could definitely see giving you the bonus for that.
And so kind of going along with that theme too, I also thought maybe we could use the Bête Noire bonus here and kind of loop them in, especially on our operations, since they're like sort of the, intelligence gathering faction of the Pyre factions. They deal in information and
so you
data,
want them to focus on logistics here and kind of loop in and help. And what does it look like, Comet, for the two of you, that both you, RC, and Bête Noire taking a specific interest in Point Falchion? What does it look like? Is it that you identified like that's a possible weak point? What has drawn your interest here that makes Point Falchion specifically susceptible to what you all are doing?
Yeah, just I start monitoring troop movements through my mech systems, just sort of general like radar information and stuff. And I feel like I've identified like a tactical point at Falchion, especially where maybe they're like kind of like reorienting their troops around, like redeploying and stuff. And I'm like, oh, at this point, this would be the perfect time to strike. Let's monitor their comms, monitor their movements, and like figure out the most ideal time to like push at their front lines. So I kind of set up like a command post, inside my mech, and I have a Bet Noir and I have RC on a conference line, and I'm just running the numbers, and Lynch is doing simulations, and I'm feeding that back to them, so it's like we're like looking at the data, crunching the numbers, nerding out on the different possibilities and trying to approach this in a mathematical way. Like this is our best chance to push forward and win the day.
Hey Astro.
Yeah.
I have some bad news for you.
Okay.
As you and RC and Bet Noir are kind of like hunkering down and kind of like really tuning in to Point Falchion to see how you can take it out, you've noticed that, it may be a little bit more susceptible to you. The way they're moving is very predictable. You're like, okay, this is where we can eke out some definite advantage here. It is not long after your group begins their assault that you find, for some reason, you're woefully unprepared for their movements. It's as if, as soon as you committed your forces to the fight, all of their movements became unpredictable. It is as if you were drawn in to attack this point, and then immediately they started counteracting what you were doing.
Yeah.
Once per this event, Donahan can add his bonus to one of these points, adding difficulty to the roll. So Donahan has taken specific interest in this point and is adding difficulty to this one.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. So do I roll, when I rolled, will it be +2 but with difficulty?
Yeah, it'll be still a d20 +2 because those are the bonuses you're adding, but you will have to roll a d6 for difficulty and add that as well.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Are you ready for me to do it?
Go for it.
All right, here we go. Oh, not great. An 8.
Also, you added the d6 instead of subtracting it, so
Oh,
it was even worse
Wait,
than
what
that.
did you roll then?
He rolled a 3, so 5
It's not a
altogether,
one.
minus 3, which
Yeah.
should be 2.
2.
Lord.
So worse than your roll, Chuck.
So,
You want
yeah,
some booze?
Astro, you have been woefully outmaneuvered. It is in this, you're able to shortly discover this is not normal smack tactics. Someone has taken a special interest in this point and is kind of micromanaging it specifically to counter your efforts.
Yeah, and possibly maybe they lured us in the first place when I noticed possible weaknesses in that point.
That's what it would seem like.
Oh, all right. Well, such is war.
All right. Now we have 2 more points. The next one is Point Tachi. Do we want Kestrel or Orion to take this one?
Doesn't matter to me. What about you, Jay?
I can take it. Which one? Who's backing this one? You said there was like someone backing each point, I thought.
No, just one of you has to be the final arbiter. So the person who makes the roll and the person who has final say on what bonuses get applied to it.
I thought you were saying like certain factions went at certain directions, and this one would lead.
You can
towards
use,
one faction or
yeah,
another.
you can use any bonus or any faction at any of these points. Imagine it's mixed units at any point. Using the bonus means they're applying special resources to that point to make it more effective.
Okay. What have we used? So we've used the ferrofluid, we've used
and the
Bête
ambush.
Noire?
No, we've used Bête Noire, not
No.
the ambush.
Okay.
Bête Noire
Okay.
and the
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I posted a list there in
We've
Discord.
Bête Noire, but not the Bête Noire ambush spoiler.
I will use Kingfisher and the rescued Lancer pilot here.
Okay.
Since they kind of go together, I think.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
I don't want to forego my rest, so I'm sorry. It'll probably be a little bit more boring here. I don't have anything to like add to this role other than them.
That's fine.
I don't know. It just kind of is what it is, I guess.
All right. Well, in order to add the bonus, you need to frame a scene on how that affects it. So tell us first how Kingfisher is applying extra pressure to this point, and then second, how the efforts of Lancer Abow make this point more effective as well.
Let's see.
And also, everyone is welcome to give suggestions as well. It's just up to Jay to make final decisions on things.
Yeah, if anyone has any suggestions, I'd be glad to hear them.
Well, we know that the extra Lancer is like a very skilled pilot.
Indeed.
Not skilled enough if they got caught up in the explosion. Hey, anyways. I would say that pilot's definitely leading the assault on it.
I imagine, with Kingfisher and that pilot, it's like a morale boost to the troops. You know, the knights in shining armor leading the charge. You know, Knights of the Round Table.
They're probably very big on motivation, so this
yeah, they probably got some like speakers on their mechs and they're like giving like a battlefield speech, like onwards, men, to victory or death.
So
Like
Braveheart
banners on the back of their mech.
Yeah. Some of their mechs are definitely wearing banners and tabards and flags and things of that nature, for sure.
I mean, non-ironically, that's pretty rad.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I'd go with that, I guess.
Right.
Sounds good to me. If that's...
Now, Jay, before you make your roll, I need you to roll me a D2. Flip a coin.
Alright.
A 2.
What's that? It's a 2.
That means Orion will have to deal with this problem, not you.
Cool.
Good luck, Jeremy.
All right. What do you need to succeed, Jay?
Oh, for the next thing. Okay. So it's 1d20 plus 2?
Yep.
All right. I keep on typing. It's a 7.
Oh my god.
Wow. Man, you guys weren't
Yikes.
lying. The bad rolls did not end at the end of last session. Jesus.
It's the best. It's the best roll yet, though. It's a 5. I mean, it's a 7 plus 7 with the plus 2, but
It's true.
God.
what's it?
I'm
1, 3, and
screwed.
5.
Yeah, and as King, the problem is, all of you have assembled a fairly effective group. But while everyone else was salvaging, Smack was building defenses, emplacements, holdout positions, turrets. You are attacking a heavily dug-in group. So it is not entirely surprising that you are having trouble making way. So far, Point Saber is the best y'all have done, and that was a push. So things are getting a little hairy here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, bring it.
That does not hold well for Point Gladius, the furthest south point. Orion, you're going to be the arbiter for this point.
Okay.
What I will say is, luckily, you do have some good bonuses in the tank here. Unluckily, you know what? I will wait until we get to near the roll to explain what the deficit is here. But let's talk about all the good stuff first.
All right, so I have White Rabbit and the foiled Smack ambush.
Yeah.
All right, so the way that I see it is that we know White Rabbit tends to be very aggressive, So they would probably be charging in, leaving their backs open, which is where the ambush would kick in.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously we have Bete Noir with the foiled smack ambush. So they're going to be protecting White Rabbit's backs while they charge in recklessly.
All right, so White Rabbit's out there on the front. They're really like diving in head first, fully reckless. And Smack thinks they have them fucking dead to rights. Oh, they're going to pull up the ambush and wipe them out when their ambush gets wiped out, which is just perfect.
When their ambush gets ambushed.
Yeah. So they're going to get a +2 bonus from the countered ambush and a +1 bonus for White Rabbit. So you got a +3 there already. Now, Orion, are you going to forego your rest to add anything to this roll from you?
I can't afford to forego my rest.
Okay. I have one final option for you.
Okay.
This option was available only to you because of a thing. If you were to forego your rest, Orion, something else would happen. You would get a +2 bonus to the roll.
Okay.
You don't have to take it.
I may have to, just because we failed all of our other rolls.
Take it.
You could stabilize at the beginning of our next encounter.
I would need to stabilize twice to actually be useful.
Yeah.
Oh.
Up to you.
That's the problem.
Why would you? What?
Because I'm at basically max heat, and I'm at 5 HP.
Well, doesn't heat go down after combat? It's not rest
on a
necessarily?
rest. Yeah.
It's only rest.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
All right.
You need time for your mech to completely disengage so the heat can disperse.
All right, I'll take it because we don't have any other options.
All right. The reason why you're getting an extra bonus to this is because Artemis has been newly enhanced by the Vesalian medium.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Tell me, Orion, what were you originally setting out to do here? How were you originally going to help?
How was I originally going to help?
Yeah, what was your original plan to help here?
Well, I'm a mech with a big-ass gun, and I was going to be a bunker buster.
Gotcha. Now tell me how Artemis does something that you didn't ask her to do that makes you more effective but worried.
So I was just going to blow a hole through a wall so White Rabbit could go all berserk, but Artemis recalibrates the gun to aim at a much higher angle so that it actually brings it doesn't just blow a hole, it also rains debris down upon the unsuspecting Smack forces.
Afterwards, you're impressed with the effectiveness of it, but know for a fact that is not what you told Artemis to do.
Yeah.
I imagine it's sort of a risky shot because you have your own troops kind of in the danger zone.
Yeah, it was like a danger close shot. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's something you're just going to have to mull over later. It seems like Artemis has made an effective choice, but one you didn't ask her to make.
Yeah.
So you get an additional +2 to that point.
Okay.
Now, the thing that I had 2 of your friends roll on, but it didn't happen at their points, does happen at yours, unfortunately.
Okay.
This point is being reinforced by the Pit Wolves. Once per this event, the Pit Wolves can reinforce a point to make the roll dangerous.
Oh.
So you'll still get a success if you get over a 10, but something bad will also happen unless you get over a 20.
Well, considering our rolls already, I think it's more likely I'm going to get a 9. Look, I'm just being realistic.
Yeah.
No. I was thinking, I just didn't want to jinx it by saying out loud.
Yet.
Look, we've steadily increased our rolls, and now we're out of options. All right. I'm ready when you are, Bob.
All right. Yeah, roll. You have a +5 to the roll, I believe, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
24.
Oh,
Wow.
holy cow!
24.
24.
Well,
That's more than 5.
on the most dangerous of rolls, you actually countered the pit wolf counterattack. Party, please feel free. You guys got the success on this point. Narrate how the breakthrough happens.
I imagine the precipitating event would be that shot that Artemis made. Like it was such a wild shot, and it like caused a giant debris cloud. And Smack, they're already wired up. They're amped. So they just see the big explosion and they're like, ah! And they start charging through the hole. At that point, those forces just get overwhelmed. What do you think?
Also, it was a giantess explosion. It was probably a little intimidating.
Yeah, I'd say afterwards the pit wolves would probably try to get through it, right, and reinforce it. And then something they never would have expected happen in White Rabbit, we get them to fall back. And then when the pit wolves flood out, then we get to mortar shot them.
Yeah, I could see that, like fish in a barrel type deal.
It is like literally all of your planning kind of really fell in behind this one point, because this was also the point where they were going to ambush your troops. They thought this was going to be their point of overwhelming victory, where they would like basically massacre and take out a bunch of your people, but it's completely flipped it on its head. So,
yeah, I like that.
Who of y'all decided to keep their rest?
Not me.
KESTRAL. Hey, KESTRAL. Now we've reached the end of the event. Go ahead and spend your rest.
Yay!
All right, what you doing with them?
I'm going to repair, and I think I'm going to add a stress back. So I'll go 15 out of 15 hit points and 3 out of 4 stress. I'll be 4 out of 4 structure, but only 1 repair cap left.
I thought you were already at 3 out of 4 repair cap. Because didn't you stabilize during the fight?
Was I?
Repair?
Yeah, maybe I did. So it should be 0 out of 4?
I think that would use all your repair cap.
Okay.
Still want to do the same things?
Yeah, because it's 2 to get a stress back, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Right. Is that important? It's pretty important to have the stress up, huh?
Well, I will tell you, if you go 1 more stress, remember that you almost had a reactor meltdown last.
I don't remember that.
Okay. Well, because your stress was low, you almost had a reactor. Happen. Okay, you're right. You did, timey-wimey stuff happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just won't repair again.
That's fair enough.
I mean, if can I steal a repair cap from someone else or no?
Nope.
If they like want to give it, okay.
If you're destroyed, you can steal a repair cap to fix it.
Well, that's not stealing. I can't force them to do anything. My mech is destroyed. that's giving, right?
Yeah, that's donating.
I want to steal from them.
No, you don't understand. I've used up all my Marios. I want to steal one of theirs now. What button do I have to press to take one of their lives?
Left, right, left,
give
right.
Me your extra life.
Left, right, BA, start, select.
I don't think it was that complicated.
As wholesome as Mario is, most of their games are like friendship enders. Mario Party, Mario Kart. I mean, just like you described. I don't know if you guys have ever played cooperative like 3D Mario Land or whatever, but that shit gets people yelling at each other. All right,
stop throwing me off the ledge.
I want the most points.
All right. Well, You guys have successfully fought to a breakthrough point. At Point Gladius, far to the south in Kingfisher territory, you turned overwhelming odds against you into overwhelming odds in your favor. The allied troops reinforced the other points enough to prevent a counterattack, but I think most of their forces are going to start funneling through and taking over as much smack territory as they can grab and hold, trying to push them back. It is during this time that you all have regrouped. Talonflare has been the person kind of assigned to your group to coordinate on behalf of White Rabbit with the DBC crew. So he's kind of like feeding you info on what's going on as well. As the fight trails on, Ken gets in contact with you, Astro.
Okay, I'll pick up the line and say, Ken, talk to me.
If he hasn't already, I imagine now is when he kind of gives you the rundown of what's going on at the other points. Basically, you guys fought to a standstill, but, it's just a big shootout at Point Saber now. Most of the other points we've gotten repelled, but we had a lucky breakthrough at Point Gladius. He describes how your countering of the ambush worked in their favor, about Orion's valiant contributions there, and basically feeds you what the next large issue they're dealing with now is. Well, see, Astro, the problem is we don't really have the guns or expertise still in the tank to take on these pit wolves. The closer we make it in towards the tower, the more difficult it is to break their position. We need, you guys. You're the only ones we know who've been effective against them.
Yeah, even then, just barely. But yeah, I take your point. I think we need to go in there and deal with them.
Here's the plan. So far as we have it, unless you have any other bright ideas. We're going to commit to a combined push, try to keep as many of them occupied as possible. We've located the Pit Wolf base. It seems to be right under their main tower at City Hall. We're going to try and pull them in as many directions at the same time as once, while you attack the Pit Wolf base.
All right. Do you have any intel on the Pit Wolf base? How many are there?
Well, from what we've seen so far, they've really committed to reinforcing the other points and driving us back. If we can draw them away while you attack the base, at most 1 to 2 groups might be at the base actively at the time. They're really mostly staying in combat most of the time.
All right. Sounds like a good plan. Let me run it by the others. But I think that's what we'll have to do. You leave the Pit Wolves to us.
And one other thing.
And keep the other guys off our back. Yeah.
Ever since the fighting started, we haven't seen hide nor hair of Pound Foolish.
You think he boogied out of here?
I have no idea where he would go if he did.
I don't know what it means, but it feels ominous. You think he'd be out there making statements, or on the front lines. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would just take a back seat.
Well, the thing I'm worried about is if a swarm's incoming, the only person who has the authority to call off the swarm is Pound Foolish himself, or whoever his successor is if he dies.
Do we know who's next in line?
I have no idea.
Well, we better hurry then. Wasn't the plan out of character? Just trying to dredge through my memory. Was the plan to reach their base like of communications and call off the swarm somehow. Wasn't there something? Didn't we talk about that or no? You guys remember?
I thought we were just going to overtake the base, or where they've been setting up. I don't remember anything about calling off. Oh yeah, I guess we'd have to because there's more coming in. That's right.
Or maybe the plan was just take over before the swarm gets here.
Yeah.
Kill Pound Foolish, and it hopefully once we defeat Smack so completely, the swarm doesn't have like any leader, and they don't have any like anyone to take orders from.
That was
it's
something
almost
you
as
discussed.
bad as Pound Foolish still being alive when they get here, I think. But I don't know if we found a way to do it, we were going to do it. But our main goal was to get our objective done, to get in there, get the intel, and if fucking who cares if this planet gets swarmed? Fucking I don't.
Yeah, get out of there and leave it to the vultures.
Yeah, more specifically, that the information that you have been sent here to find has been heavily implied to be at City Hall, and you doubt you'll have any access if you wait long enough for the swarm to arrive.
Yeah. All right, so back into character, I'll say to Ken, well, we'll just have to take out, maybe we can take out Pound Foolish and his command structure. Will the swarm see any point in reinforcing if they see a Smack so, disorganized and foiled?
If we get a crushing victory, nah, they're all opportunists. They'll, see that it's too tough a nut to crack and maybe go their own way. But, I mean, if Smack is still fighting, still, holding ground when they arrive, I think we'll get overrun. So we're aiming for total victory here, or we need to figure out something else to do.
Well, we get that. If we get whatever intel they're guarding at the city hall, we can figure out what they're up to in the first place. Then maybe we could go from there. We need to leave this planet with better information on how to combat them. That may be our final resort.
All right, well, talk over with your people. I'm going to see who I can get together to run a screen for you so that we can make sure once you've engaged, they don't double back on top of you. Get back in touch as soon as you're ready.
Sounds good. All right, and so I'll just open the line back to everyone else. Let you know, hey, I heard from Talonflare. The plan he was proposing is they run interference while we go into the Pit Wolf base and deal with the remaining Pit Wolves there. They don't quite have enough juice to do an all-out assault against everyone. But if we can focus on the Pit Wolves and deal with them, they can hold off the rest of Smack just long enough for us to do that, I think. And keep them off our backs.
How many Pit Wolves are we talking?
Ken thinks 1 or 2 groups. Probably, let's just say 2.
Don't like those Pit Wolves.
Don't ask me how many are in a group.
I figured
groups of 1.
Yeah, no, actually they're half mechs.
I mean, you need to think about what he's asking you to. If it was just 1 or 2 groups of Pit Wolves, it wouldn't be, the mission that it is. I mean, more groups of Pit Wolves are being supplied to different front lines, right? Yeah. He's asking us to go to take care of Mark Irons.
Probably.
Crap, you're right, yeah.
And I don't think the leader of this group is going to be any easier to fight than the mooks that we have so far. You guys are all serious. You want to stick this out and do this? I mean, we could leave.
We could. But at this point, I feel like we've gone too far. We've committed. And what is it going to say for our reputation as a mercenary group if we flee at this critical juncture?
We evaluated the situation and made a smart decision.
I mean, they're pirates. I mean, they could say whatever they want about us as far as being a mercenary group, right?
Well,
I mean, good luck trying to sell the smart decision. I think what most potential employers will see is we're unreliable and we jump ship when the going gets tough.
Well, right now we only have one employer and we owe a favor to one of the pirate factions. So...
Not if they're done by a swarm.
Also keep in mind, we've already made an enemy out of, what, 1 or 2 corpos? I don't think we want a whole pack of pirate crews on us as well.
Well, that's, again, assuming they survive the swarm.
I doubt, not everyone from White Rabbit is here. Just they've had our setups,
Listen,
right?
I think when it comes down to it, our participation is critical to White Rabbit, Bet Noir, and Kingfisher winning against Smack. If we leave, I think that turns the tide of battle against them. And maybe that's not our problem, but that's just probably the consequence we'll deal with. I don't want to force anyone. I think we should do it, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to sleep. I wouldn't be able to sleep or live with myself if we bailed now.
All right, then. This is going to be painful.
Yep. Get ready to eject your mech or blow it up, I guess.
I'll turn to Steve and say, Steve, you can go. You and your wife can get on the DBC, stay in orbit. You don't have to go into this. I don't want you putting your life on the line. Especially if you have people important to you.
He mulls it over, just clearly thinking to himself hard.
No one will think lesser of you.
In for a penny, in for a pound, foolish head. Am I right?
That's one way to put it.
That was an awful pun.
Yeah,
it's a fantastic pun.
No offense, I'm here to help you guys, and I will. But if the going gets bad enough,
we get out.
Listen, we don't have to make it a suicide mission. If we feel like we can't handle them after a few rounds of fighting, we back out.
Maybe we can tell Curry that the engines are running if things get really bad.
All right. Let me think about something. How long is a rest in real time? In time? Like, is it an hour, half a day?
It's like an hour-ish.
I'm just mulling over the possibility of, could we ask Talonflare if we can delay the plans? Obviously, I'm sure there'd be consequences.
We could delay, possibly, but then the delay would result in us possibly facing the swarm.
Yes. Right.
Anytime you I would allow you to delay these actions in order to get a rest in for your team. The world does not stop for you. It will cause a complication to happen that unfortunately I'm not going to give you any hints about what that complication stands for.
That's what I would assume. I just didn't know if it was possible.
It is 100% on the table. You would just need to weigh the... Now, it might still be a good decision to do that. You know, me saying that there's a consequence doesn't mean that that consequence is worse or better. It just means that you have to weigh it.
Yeah, it's a gamble. We don't know for sure. So that's something to think about. Do we have an ETA on when the swarm is going to arrive here? Like, are we talking about a matter of hours, or is it more like maybe in a day or two?
It was sent out, and the information that you've gotten from Ken is like asking all of the bottom feeders that exist within SMAC to all show up at a place at the same time and basically just go nuts, right? So you imagine it will be relatively opportunistic. You don't imagine that people are going to show up and then throw themselves into their obvious deaths. So you imagine there'll be some sort of critical mass or some sort of like build up before the descent, if that makes sense.
Can I radio RC?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let me send him a ring.
Well, it depends if he picks up, but you can radio him. Just, All
right, you get ring into the DBC and you, hey, what's up, boss?
Hey, you tracking the airspace around the planet, or I should say the space?
I mean, I have a lot going on. We have some passive sensors up there. I get IFF signals from our allies, but why? What's going on?
Would any alarm bells ring for you if a bunch of ships started entering into the system?
How many we talking?
Would you have to be I don't know, 20, 50?
It's hard to say. All four of these groups already have people in orbit. If it's not enough to make that number look obviously bigger, I don't know how obvious that would be unless I'm watching it. Like if it goes from like 70 people up there to 140, like if all of a sudden one of the groups up there doubles in size, yeah, I'll know. But if like they start getting one or two ships here and there, I don't know how I'm going to be able to keep track of that unless I'm watching.
All right. Well, so far, no obvious doubling in size, I take it.
Not that I've seen, but hey, my eyes have been all on you guys for the past few hours.
And you guys suck.
And man, you guys were riding the struggle bus today. Jeez.
Yeah, tell me about it. It hasn't been easy going here.
Hey, remind me to remind you, if we hear about the pit wolves ever again, we're not taking that job.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we're thinking about facing the pit wolves again.
You gotta beat, and then you hear his line like conspicuously mute itself.
Yeah.
All right, what do you need?
But, well, I'm just I want to get an idea of what we might be facing. Is there any way you can get any intel on how many pit wolves are at their base right now?
Man, everyone's moving around so much. Give me a second. Oh man, you would not believe how good I am.
I bet I would. Tell me.
Okay, so it looks like your mercenary, way better than you doppelgangers that are out there are very interested in reinforcing all of the routes that head deeper into the northern side of the territory. They're trying to basically box y'all off to the south is what it looks like. But looking at their base, they got maybe like couple groups of 3 or 4, maybe some automated defenses.
Okay.
Gotcha. It looks like it's mostly abandoned. They might be using it as a command post or a redeployment station, but Nah, it's maybe a few people who have fallen back to repair or stand guard is what I can tell.
All right, thanks, RC. That's helpful.
Yeah, you got it. Let me know when we can go home.
Hopefully soon, buddy. Hopefully soon.
Hey, don't call me buddy until you beat me once. And then he ends the call, and at the same time, you get a report on your console that another chess move has been made.
I was gonna say, does this just say checkmate?
I was gonna say it better not be a checkmate.
No,
Checkmate
not
It's
right
check.
now.
It's just check.
He's actually just taken one of your knights, and it's a really painful loss because you didn't get anything from it.
All right, cool. So I'll say, let's assume that we'd be facing 8 of them. What do we think? Should we take a minute, take an hour to mend our wounds before going in, or do you want to just?
Wait, have you guys not been repairing? That's what I did just now.
I wanted to,
doing?
but I was trying to hack. I was trying to hack my way through Point Falchion.
Didn't Point
didn't go
Falchion
so
fall?
It did. You don't need to rub it in. I wish I did repair.
I'm
But,
just worried that if we wait too long, the swarm is going to come, and by then it'll be too late.
I'm also worried
We
that
don't-
if we wait too long, we miss this opportunity where probably the Pit Wolf camp is at its least defensive position.
Yeah.
Once they realize, I mean, they already realize we broke through at Point Gladius. Is that what it's called? Point Gladius?
Yeah.
But once,
They're
I'm
all
sure once
types
they realize.
of swords.
There you go. Yeah, that's true. I get it now. Once they, once that news fully gets around, they probably don't want to, risk leaving their base camp exposed. So, the time to strike may be now. Just that, are we ready to take them on?
About as ready as I'll ever be.
It's not ideal, but I can make it work.
I am, but I
good
don't
enough
feel like
for
you're
me.
talking to me right now.
Yeah, I mean, Steve looks good. Can you solo them all?
Depends
We
on.
might need you to.
Depends on what you mean by that.
Just kidding. Not really.
Maybe a little.
All right. What do you say we do this?
All right. Yeah. Evelene finishes her her glass of who knows what. Let's do this.
All right, I'll
Hold
call Talonflare and say, all right, the crew's in. We're going to take care of the pit wolves for you. Just keep the rest of them off our backs.
All right. We got all of our big hitters out in the field. It looks like the Kansas Whirlwind and Caled Folk are out there ready to stir up some trouble. So you should have a lot of distractions.
All right, good to hear.
All right, so it sounds like from your communication with Ken, the other groups are going to be committing to a more upright assault to really draw the enemy out. They're going to do a hard push to really force them to use what they have available to them in order to counter. Unfortunately, you're only going to be able to do this from one point, which is one of the downsides from having only gotten through one of the 5 points. That means that this push is going to be maybe a little less effective. So we'll see what happens as a result of that. But you do know that this kind of a push is going to draw out a maximum of the pit wolves from their base in order to reinforce the front lines. Because they've been pretty effective at doing that. Why don't you guys tell me what your plan is to get through the battle lines and to the Pit Wolf base to take out their command structure?
We do it successfully.
I hadn't considered that.
Thoughts?
That works for me.
Yeah.
Can we? Is there a wall we can drill through?
It's a downtown city center.
Does it have walls?
It has a variety of walls. Most of them are connected to buildings that may fall over.
Darn.
Make sure you push them to fall on the pit wolves and not on us.
That is a plan. Buildings hurt when they hit you. Okay, seriously.
So just on the off the top of my head, like, I don't know, like, since Kestrel's our speedy fly boy, maybe he can kind of go ahead of us a little bit and scout it, and find the best angle of attack, for us to start, our battle with the pit wolves.
Okay. Kestrel.
That sounds really dangerous. So sure, why not?
Yeah, we don't have to. I'm just spitballing.
No. I'll do it.
Spitballing. I don't want to. I don't want to lose you either, or get you in trouble. You're the only one at full strength here, so when we start fighting them, I want you at full strength. So.
But still do it.
Well, I also want to hear other ideas.
No.
I want to hear other ideas.
I don't think we can ask on our pirate friends anymore, so it makes sense. I will try to scout ahead.
All right, then Kestrel. I'm going to ask you to make a pilot check to determine if you can successfully make it to the Pit Wolf base, or secure a route to the Pit Wolf base for your companions without running into anything else messy. What do you want to add to that roll?
Let's see.
You don't have
Get somewhere quickly, read a situation. No, not read a situation.
Get somewhere quickly is pretty spot on for this.
How do we feel about stay cool?
Stay cool is a little broad for what you're trying to do here, I think. Because you're not really doing something under fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. I figure it'd be pretty pressured being behind enemy lines.
You have the threat of being discovered.
And it does require concentration, dexterity, and speed to do what I'm looking to do. But if you don't want it, I'll stick with get somewhere quickly. Or if you don't think it works, that's fine.
I think the stay cool is more of like a high technical kind of like doing a specific action under pressure.
Direct pressure, sure.
Yeah, this feels more like a avoiding kind of movement here. So I think get somewhere quickly feels a little bit more apt.
Okay, I will get somewhere quickly then.
All right. And Steve, the complications here are if you fail, there is a possibility the Pit Wolf base will be informed of your arrival before you get there. So that's what is on the table for a failure here.
I have a question. And I'm thinking a little creatively here, but I have...
Oh, we don't like that. Don't do that, Todd. I mean, yes, please.
This is a pilot check, but I wonder if I can give him a leadership dice, since I did order him to go scout ahead. for us.
I do think they try to keep the combat mechanics and the player mechanics pretty separate from each other because I don't think the math lines up. But why don't you tell us what that normally does so we can see if it translates?
The leadership die? Yeah, so let me read the talent.
Because I have an idea how you can use this as long as it reads the way I expect.
Yeah, so once per turn on your turn as a free action, you may issue an order to an allied PC you can communicate with, describing a course of action and give them a leadership dice. They may either expend the leadership dice to gain 1 accuracy on any action that directly follows from that order, or they may return it to you as a free action.
Okay, perfect.
Allies, yeah.
I was just going to say, the way it's worded is exactly like how I hoped it worded. It's basically give them accuracy on a check, which is something you can do for an ally anyway by helping them, right? So if you spend one of your leadership die, I will allow KESTRAL to apply accuracy to the roll.
Okay, I will definitely do that. So I'm down to 4 out of 6 leadership die.
All right, so since that was what you were ordered to do, KESTRAL, you will be rolling this with accuracy.
All right. That'd be a 22.
I think that sounds pretty good.
I think so.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty.
All right, so KESTRAL, what does this look like?
My mech can just go stealth, basically. I mean, there's things about it, but in general, I'm basically just invisible. So getting around and with the speed that I have, even if like someone catches a bit of a sensor, something there, by the time they turn to look, I'm already gone. So they would think, oh, there's a lot of stuff going on. It must just be a malfunction or something, right? So I would think that I'd be able to get a pretty good idea moving around quickly that about what the best point of entry is on the pit wolves, maybe how many are there, something like that.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, it's exactly like you described. And because you're so fast, you are able to get ahead of your crew, scout multiple points of entry, and make clear which one's the best, all before your allies arrive. So you're really getting like the forward scout advantage here for sure. So yeah, I mean, you watch KESTRAL as like the remainder of the pirate forces kind of come to blows. You see where the enemies are reinforcing, you see the pit wolves that are being drawn away from their base, you see where the various factions are clashing and drawing forces away, and you are able to confirm independently that yes, Talonflare was right. It looks like the pit wolves are largely concerned with making sure that your forces make it no further, and as such have neglected to keep a large defensive unit on their own base. So yeah, you're able to effectively lead the rest of your crew there. Which leads us to the assault on the Pit Wolf camp. You have arrived, and you can see in front of you a few small buildings, some various camp and mech repair facilities. There is a few things here that are like prefab, like base stuff that almost seems like it's been airdropped from space. The Pit Wolf base has a lot more like a mobile deployable like field base look to it than the rest of the smack stuff you've encountered so far. From what you can detect, where you do see there are some automated defenses in front of you in the form of a couple turrets, and luckily a little bit less than the 2 full groups. So you have a pack hunter, 2 wolf rains, and a silent killer that are currently occupying the base. This is where we are going to pick up next session as you start your assault on the Pit Wolf base. You're not quite sure if this is all they have to bring to bear, but this is what's apparent right now.
I'm going to guess that the
right.
enemy deployment thing at the top means they probably have more, but that's just me.
Who can say?
Who can say?
All right. Well, with the enemy on the horizon and your chance to strike back at the pit wolves right in front of you, we'll see how you get on with that next time.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us,
good.
everyone. We'll see if the pilots can pull out a victory here in our next session. Bye-bye.
Alrighty.
Yeah,
Bye.
See ya.